Welcome to DAExMachiNation. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Evening, folks, and thank you all for joining us on another edition of DAExMachiNation. Going to be just me and Robbie tonight. Steve had to work, and Doc is busy doing family things, so we're just going to put up with me and Robbie, my compatriot in the Redneck Reading Association. So tonight it's just us, and we're going to be talking about a video. It's not a new video. It actually first appeared about 2 years ago. But it started making the rounds again. And well, this one really got me and Robbie to talking. It ain't too terribly far from Robbie. It's taken in South Carolina. I'm not going to say exactly where, but it's about an hour from Robbie, maybe a little over. Give or take, it's about an hour, depending on which road you take.
Ish.
Yeah, ish. But when you watch this video, and this video does fall under fair use. It's not a copyrighted video. It's just up on somebody's YouTube channel. There are no disclaimers saying it is copyrighted, but we're going to pretend that it is and use it under fair use. And we just lost Robbie, so which means we're probably only going to watch about 30 seconds of it at a time. It is, however, what's going on? Facebook, this thing's going crazy tonight.
You stopped. I was like,
yeah, we both disappeared and came back. That damn satellite's messing with us already.
Satellites.
Hey, the boys over at the Alphabet Soup had to make sure they got the feed correct before we went on. They want to make sure we're entertainment purposes only, folks. Entertainment purposes only. But we're going to be talking about this video, and we're going to be showing it. We'll probably stop about every 15 to 20 seconds to talk about what's watching in this video. Now, because it's on YouTube and I couldn't download the video, I'm going to play the video on the screen, and Robbie's going to cue up the sound on his phone. So it's not going to be perfectly synced up, but it's the best we could do.
So before we start doing that, when the video is playing, I can't answer any kind of don't ask me any questions until after the sound's done, because I got to use my phone for that. So
yeah,
I won't be able to answer any questions while the sound's going.
And the reason that this video is something we wanted to do a reaction on, and we'll probably start doing more like this, some of these better videos that are out there. And of course, we're also going to talk about some of the ones we've shot. But we're going to do a reaction video with this because, well, one thing that I noticed when I first watched it is there's more going on than even the guy filming is aware. We've spotted a lot of things that he doesn't even comment on. And the caption on the video, the guy said that right after he stopped filming, the rest of the tree came down and he got the hell out of there. So when you watch this, you got to pay close attention, because something big, and he even says straight out that something that is bigger than him is up in that treetop, and it's breaking branches. He says would take him 2 minutes to saw through. But we'll just show part of it, and then we'll discuss it for a couple minutes, and and then we'll kind of break it down from there. But Robbie, before we jump into the showing part of that video, why don't you go ahead and tell us about how you reacted to it?
I think Doc sent it to us in our group, right? Didn't Doc send it?
Yeah, I think it was Doc put it in there first.
So I was already asleep when he sent it. So I got up next morning, and I just doing my normal thing, getting ready for work, not thinking anything about it. Went into work and thought, oh crap, I didn't watch that video that Doc sent to our group. So I'm sitting there in my patrol car. I keyed the video up, and I was like, holy shit. It was just, and I know DA said the video was 2 years old, but for whatever reason, that's the first time I'd seen it.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd seen it too.
I had no clue that this thing was out there, this video. I didn't, and at that point, I didn't even know it was in South Carolina. I assumed that it was somewhere in the South because of the guy's accent.
Well, his accent and the type of type of trees. I
Yeah.
mean, some of those are live oaks, and you don't get the live oaks, but anywhere but the South.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there watching this thing, and I'm like, man. So I started sending. I sent the video to my dad. I sent it to my brother. I sent it to a bunch of other people. I think I sent it. Some people I sent it to Sonia. A couple other people that are like. I sent it to Johnny. Sent it to Taylor and Tyler both. So just hey, watch this video? It's insane. I think that was my exact words. Just about everybody I sent it to.
In fact, the tree that it's breaking branches out of is a live oak. You can tell that by the leaves on it. But for those of you who are unaware, live oak is a hardwood. That tree does not break easy, and this is a healthy tree. It's not some old dead tree. You can tell by the green leaves. This thing is a healthy, in the prime of its life tree. So for something to be snapping branches the way it's happening, it's taken some incredible strength. Northwest Native says California has live oak. I thought live oaks were only in the South, but that was immediately what I thought. But then it was confirmed when I found out the video was in South Carolina.
So yeah, my initial reaction was like this, because you and I both kind of look at stuff a lot of times like, okay, how can we debunk this? Because that's what first thing people are going to start trying to do. So that's usually when I watch a video, especially if it's a good one. I'm like, okay, how can this be staged? How could this be faked? And short of having a crew out there that had chains already on winches, already keyed up on these limbs in those trees, it ain't somebody out there breaking them. It ain't somebody up there with a saw, because you can't hear. All you can hear is the limbs breaking and him talking and whatever it is moving around in the treetops. It's not a bear, because bears don't throw stuff, and there's plenty of video in there of things being thrown out of the tree. It's just honestly next to, because you don't really ever get to see like a face or a body or anything like that, because it's pretty thick trees. But honestly, in my opinion, next to the Patterson film, MK, or not MKs, but Freeman, the Freeman footage. This is some of the best video, even though it doesn't show. What else could it be? What else could be?
Well, you do see movement in the tree. You just don't ever get a really clear look at it.
But what?
And for a person to be up in a tree like that,
moving around in a tree like that, what other
and knocking the branches off the sides they knock off?
What other arboreal species in the U.S. could be up there doing something like that?
Yeah. Well, how about we watch about the first 20, 25 seconds of this?
Right. I'm ready.
Let me get her.
All I gotta do is hit play, so you just tell me when to go.
All right, let me get her set up. Give me just a second. Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. You just tell me. You just say go.
All right, hit it.
I hope you can hear this. It sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me.
Okay, pause it right there. Now, he's coming around the house. You can already hear things up in the tree. You could hear that growling, that deep, heavy bass growling. That's something with some pretty tremendous lung capacity. And when he starts shining the flashlight, he's shining it up into the trees. But look at the bottom of the screen. This is what he didn't catch. Ready, Robbie?
Yep.
Here we go. Look at all the eye shine. He's not noticing, but he has got multiple sets of eye shine around him.
I've never seen it.
Pause it again. Now, what he's shining up here in this tree, you're going to see stuff up in here start shaking some of these branches. And if you watch pay attention to this section of this tree. You're going to see something move in and around that section of tree. Now, I've tried slowing it down. I've tried freeze framing it, but I never get a clear image. So, just take that for what it is and watch that particular section of this trunk of this tree. He's going to pan away a couple of times, but when he comes back, pay attention, because this is where you're going to start seeing something move. Go ahead, Robbie.
I hit it. Is it playing?
Nope.
Back it up a little bit. I guess it didn't. I hit it, but it didn't.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Ready. Fire.
There we go.
I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Oh, right there, you could see something moving among those trees. You don't get a clear look at it, but there's something good sized up that tree, and I don't think it's a bear.
This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And I still cannot
It's a pretty decent sized branch that comes out, but that's tiny compared to what comes out.
Look, they're ruining this freaking place. What in God's name? It's bigger than me, whatever it is.
Now, over here in this section here, I'm going to back it up just about 20 seconds, about 10 seconds. Watch this section over here and this section up here. You're going to see something blurry move through the image. See it? I don't know why he keeps cutting out the flashlight and keeps moving it around so much. But even when it's off, look at the bottom of the screen. Look at the sheer amount of eye shine. Now you're seeing some other buildings and like this is supposed to be part of like a rural apartment complex. You can see some of the lights of the other buildings, but you see a ton of eye shine down on the lower end.
Tell me when you're ready for me to hit it again, sound wise.
All right, I'm going to pause it a second. I'm going to back it up. Go back to time index 1 minute 11 seconds. Let me know when you're ready.
Getting there. Hang on. I'm at 110, so that's close enough.
Close
a little
enough.
bit.
All right, all right, fired up. Ready?
They're ruining this freaking place. What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is. Because it's breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to saw.
Yeah, you can go ahead and pause it. You can tell from that old boy's accent. He's from South Carolina. I'm at 1 minute 28 seconds.
I'm at 130.
Okay, well, I'm going to bump this forward. So I'm matching you. All right, ready?
Yep.
Go.
Look, see, he's coming right above me right here. He's fixing to throw something at me, whatever it is.
Bears don't throw.
I don't like you messing with it. Look. What in God's name is going on?
I wish he had a better camera. This is obviously taken on a cell phone, but if he had, a high-end camera with better audio, you would probably get a much deeper effect of that bass of that growl. I don't want to pause.
Look.
Paused at 2:14.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this section right in here, when we start this back up, you're going to see something pretty spectacular. Now, and again, this is exactly why I don't think this is any kind of bear. Because if it was a bear, this probably would have brought it out of that tree. Bears don't have hands. They can't hang on like we would. But they do have claws. They could hang on, but they couldn't have done this and hang on at the same time. Ready?
Yep.
Go. What the hell?
Look, look at that.
I hit the wrong thing. Stupid video. God damn it. Where was I at? 2 minutes and what?
I'm at 2:10. I backed it up just a little bit after I paused it.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I clicked on it and it clicked on the wrong thing. All right, ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Look, that's bigger than me. Look at that. Look at that. Look at
Look
that.
how much of that tree just came down. And again, that's a healthy tree.
He's doing this.
And you can see something
Okay,
moving.
pause
Oh
it.
my God, he just
Pause
took
it.
half the tree down.
Now, look at this section right in here. I'm going to back it up just a hair. I want you guys to watch this section right up here, because for a split second, you can kind of see it. And again, I think this is the adaptive camouflage at work. It's among these leaves, so it's very hard to spot it. But you got to get a motion of gray for just a second. See it? Yeah, Greg House says, when y'all hear the branches breaking and as loud as it is on here, think how loud it was in person. Yeah, those things had to sound like shotgun blasts in person. Robbie, I'm at 238.
All right. All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Hit it.
Oh, it's got to be I don't even think a bear would have a chance in Hades and doing this. It's something stronger than a bear. And he is pissed. Yeah, that's a healthy tree.
Plus, you keep seeing tons of
About
eyeshine at the bottom.
8 to
Not only
10,
is something
maybe
tearing the
12
hell out of that
inches
tree,
diameter
he's
that he
being
just
watched
broke
from multiple
because he's
angles
pissed
in the
because I'm getting
trees.
close to him. I think I'm gonna bounce because I think he just hit the ground, which means he's about to face me on foot. And I don't really want to wrestle with somebody that can tear trees down just because they're mad. My God, look at the tree he just freaking broke in half.
And it says right after that, it says right after he stopped filming that the rest of the tree came down. It said then he got out of there. It was around 11 p.m. when this happened.
Ryan, I don't think he ever saw anything other than the movement in the trees.
Yeah. He said there was something big up there and he believed it was bigger than him.
I don't think he ever saw anything to describe.
Right. And we did catch glimpses of motion, but never enough to say definitively what was up in that tree. But from the amount of eye shine, my guess would be Bigfoot. I mean, I think he had a group of them out there, and he had pissed one of them off. Steve Patton says, well, look at the time.
Cajun Dog's got a good question. He said, we think that's a territorial challenge. Honestly, yeah, that
Yeah, it wanted him out of there.
Look at videos of gorillas in breaking trees in Africa and throwing limbs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's the exact same kind of behavior. That's exactly what it looks like to me. It's
Look what Ryan said, and I agree. It was definitely primate behavior.
that's exactly what I was saying. If you watch any of the Discovery Channel shows or anything about gorillas or chimpanzees and breaking branches and smacking branches on the ground and throwing stuff around, that's a territorial challenge. And if you notice, every time he turned the flashlight up, it got worse. So I think it was taking that as a challenge. And there is no other arboreal species that could have moved in the trees that fluidly and quickly and effortlessly.
If you listen at the beginning of the video, he said that he mentioned that he was going out to fish. There's a pond back there. He was going out to fish around 11 p.m., but that was the second time this had happened to him. think something claims that pond as its own after dark.
Yeah.
Vicky Denson says, does he not know about Bigfoot? Well, he never mentions Bigfoot. But then again, if you were shooting a video of something tearing up your backyard and you had to go to work the next day, you might not mention the Bigfoot word either.
And like DA said, this video was 2 years ago. Think about the climate of the Bigfoot community 2 years ago versus how it is now. We've grown leaps and bounds in 2 years. It's a lot more commonplace now than it was 2 years ago to talk about this. So 2 years ago, you would still get, you still now get called crazy, but you really would have got called crazy 2 years ago. So,
New England Dirt Roadie says, what the heck was that? Was that behind, DA? It was behind a small apartment complex out on the edge of town. So this was close to a town. Not quite in town, but it was surrounded by a lot of woods.
Like I said, I think this goes right up there, in my opinion, with Patterson Gimlin, Freeman, the Ohio, or not the Ohio, so the Sierra Sounds. I mean, to me, this is just.
Thank you, Larry.
Not a smoking gun by no stretch of the imagination, because you can't see anything clearly. But like we said, it's clearly primate behavior. Because
yeah,
I mean, it's like I said.
Jefferson Weathersby on Facebook said, I grew up in South Carolina, and my buddy and I have seen a huge creature, either a Bigfoot or a dogman, on multiple occasions in the Low Country.
Well,
South Carolina has a lot of sightings.
And this is, just think about it, this is the second, and obviously this happened before that, but this is the second thing that we've had in the past 2 months that we've talked about that's come up in South Carolina. You had the cop in somewhere around the Columbia area that saw one hunting while he was hunting. And then now you got this one, and me and Johnny have had 3, 4, 5 encounters up in the upstate. I mean, so, and like I said, when he's walking around the front, from the front to the back, and that first limb,
hear it growling.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about that first limb that breaks.
Oh, that sounds like a shot.
Yeah, that sounds like a 12-gauge shotgun going off. So it was already ticked off at that point, and he went out there. I don't know that he intentionally antagonized it, but he went out there and antagonized it more by standing out there.
I think his presence antagonized it.
Oh, yeah.
Just the fact that he was there.
I would say, RJ, that they're omnivorous. We don't know that for a fact, but I'd say they're definitely omnivorous just based on all the stories that we've heard.
White said they didn't show the whole video on Facebook when I watched it. Yeah, what's on Facebook is just a clip. The whole video was over 3 minutes long. Greg House says, when I've had something like this happen to me, I was worried about living, not about filming. And I don't blame you.
He probably felt safer because he was on his deck right there in his house. But House will tell you, no pun intended, that dwelling was not going to be safe if he really ticked that thing off. But
that's a fact.
I guarantee you he felt safe because he was there at his residence, and he felt like, I can run inside anytime it gets bad out here. But if that thing really wanted him, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, people have asked me on mine, do you think that? Yeah, if that thing had wanted to get me, it would have. That little screen door would not have stopped it at all. So that's probably why he was so intent on filming, because he felt like he was okay and safe.
Yeah. Ryan Tremblay said the lights could have been antagonizing it too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely agree with that. And the chat's flying by, folks. If I missed saying hi to anybody, I apologize. So I honestly think it's Bigfoot. What about you?
To me, nothing else in my mind it couldn't be anything else.
I agree.
It's not a bear, not a mountain lion. Those are the only other two things size-wise that possibly could get up there in a tree that high and possibly cause that much damage. Okay, maybe a mountain lion could jump from limb to limb, but it can't break limbs and throw limbs down, and neither can a bear. And a bear does not move like that in a tree. Bears go straight up a tree and straight down a tree. That's it. They don't move from tree to tree. And that thing was moving from, down here to up here, back over here. There's nothing else it could be in my mind. Other than maybe a dog man, but to me, that was primate behavior.
Agree. I think that was primate behavior for sure.
To me, I would think if a dog man was in a tree, it's up there to ambush or watch. That's it. Primate is up there, ambush, watch, or challenge for territory and authority.
And I agree with Robbie. I think this is one of the most compelling pieces of video I've seen in a good long while. Simply because it's impossible to say this is a known animal. Bears, there's no way a bear brought down that much of that tree. I mean, I could see a bear knocking branches down, but I don't think that bear would have been up there at night. And two, even if it had been, it probably would have been hiding from the guy with the light. I mean, that's black bear territory. You don't get grizzlies in South Carolina, do you?
No.
So even if that was a particularly big blackie, like that one Robbie got on the trail cam, even if that was a particularly big blackie, they're generally not that aggressive. So I really don't think this was a black bear, and I certainly don't think it was a mountain lion, because those growls this recording sounded nothing like either a bear or
I've heard mountain lions around this area before. That was not a mountain lion. But the thing is, even if it was a bear, bears cannot move that quick in the trees, like I said. And it was not like it was moving up and down. It was moving up, down, left, right, diagonal.
It was moving like a squirrel.
Very fast and very efficient. If it was a squirrel, it was 1,000-pound squirrel.
1,000-pound squirrel, that's right. Just a guy who yaps is not a gugway. He'd have been a goner if so. I think the ones in the trees were likely juveniles, but I think the ones that were down at ground level were keeping an eye on him to make sure he didn't do anything stupid. Greg House says, guys, that encounter was mild compared to the one that was pissed about him revving up the motorcycle. Dude, I would imagine. Yeah, I would have probably been having a brown pants moment had that been me. Little Patty, I'll see what I can do. I'll dig up my notes from the last show. I'll send them to you when I get a chance. Yeah, Jess Ryan says if that was a bear, it would have fallen already, like those dumb pandas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bears do not move that fluidly in the canopy. They go up.
Bears are typically fairly ungainly.
Yeah, they go up and they come down. That's it.
They are good climbers, but they don't jump from limb to limb like squirrels. Whatever was in that tree was shaking branches, was moving around a lot. Randall killed there, so squirrels are pretty nasty. I've seen one kill and eat a rattlesnake, but they're definitely not tearing whole limbs off trees and throwing them. Yeah, I've seen squirrels get pretty nasty with other small animals, but no, there's no squirrel I've ever seen, and God, I hope not, because imagine the nuts he'd be going after. I wouldn't want to run into a squirrel that big.
Cajun dog beat me to it. I was about to say if that was a squirrel, it was a squirrel on steroids. Squirrel Hogan or something like that. I mean,
yeah, no kidding.
Oh yeah, brother, you gotta say your prayers, take your vitamins.
Joe Parker says large cats can do that. Seen bobcats chase squirrels. One, squirrels are not out at night, so they're very difficult to find for anything. And I don't think that was a cat in any way, shape, or form.
Two, show me a bobcat that's big enough to move trees around like that, and I'll show you a bobcat I'll never go anywhere around.
Yeah, there's no way a bobcat or a mountain lion were big enough to bring this. That was a good solid chunk of that. Probably 20% of that tree's branches that came down in one fell chunk. I don't think that any way that was a cat. And the growls he was recording at the very beginning of that video sound nothing like a cat. It sounds like a primate.
You know, you're looking at on the very, very, very large end of the spectrum. You're looking at 45, 50 pounds at capacity for a bobcat. I mean, most bobcats are, 15 to 20 pounds, 25. So if you're going to it's a massive bobcat. 45, 50 pounds is as big as you're probably going to get.
Yeah, that's a big bobcat right there.
Greg, back me up on that. There's no way there was a bobcat that was big enough to get up there and cause all that. It might could move like that thing was moving from limb to limb and things like that. Yeah, Miss Lene, you know what they call them souped up wildcats? They call them lynxes.
Yeah. If it'd been a souped up wildcat, we'd have heard Robbie going, shoot this thing.
Oh, shoot this thing. Have mercy. This thing killing me.
I can't shoot up there. I might hit you.
DA said, Robbie, I can't shoot up in there. I might hit you. Well, just shoot up in here amongst us. One of us got to have some relief.
Greg House says possible they were after something to eat in a tree and the guy interrupted their hunt. That's why they seemed worse when he put the light on them. That's entirely possible. But he'd also said that was the second time that had happened.
Yep. So, and I'm not, when I say that, Joe, I'm not trying to call you out or anything, but I'm just saying that there's just, in my mind, there's no way that could have been any kind of cat. I mean,
even a mountain lion wouldn't have been doing that. I mean, because some of those branches were straight up shaking. And a mountain lion might jump from branch to branch, but it's not going to grab one branch and shake it.
And it sure is not going to take a tree that thing looked like every bit of 6.5 to 7 inches around, probably more than that because it's on camera. And it's going to look a little bit smaller on camera. That was a big part of that tree that went down.
Well, that was as big as the one that came down in my backyard that took out my weatherhead.
Yeah.
It was every bit as big.
So, and for a cat, for a cat to have taken that down, the cat would have had to have been attached to it, and you would have probably seen the cat come down with the tree. It would not. There's not a.
Dr. 45-120. He says, "What's very amazing is something that large can move that fast without falling. Shows thought."
Well, and this is something that DA and I were kind of talking about beforehand.
Because I'm with you.
Yeah. But this is something we were kind of talking about. Think back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 years ago, and look at some of the stuff that DA's put in his books from back in the beginning of the Apex Predator and the Wild Hunt series. Some of this stuff that we've been talking about for years, now people are starting to actually witness.
Yeah, there's actually there's a couple of channels that have come forward with eyewitnesses that have reported seeing the tongue pop.
Yeah, well, and we're talking about that too. There's bigger channels out there who are now covering stories that we did 2 years ago.
Yeah, the Teddy Roosevelt theory.
Yeah, that one, the cave series, the tongue pops.
Point of fact, Larry Correa's books, The Monster Hunter International, he talks about the Teddy Roosevelt connection now.
Does he? Which book?
Josh Dalton could tell you. He's one that told me about it earlier today.
Well, and like I said, the book that I'm reading now, there's a lot of stuff that just sounds awful familiar that I've read somewhere else before. There's even a character in there called Major Clark.
On Fort Skookum.
Yeah, from Fort Skookum, which is totally a made-up place, as far as we know anyway.
Well, the guy's British, so we'll cut him some slack.
Yeah. I mean, at least he got it in the right state.
Greg House has a very interesting thing. He said, plus dumpsters to raid. I've got a friend named Christy Fott who lives just between Springfield and Republic, out very close to the Wilsons Creek National Battlefield in an apartment complex. And she's a night owl like me. She sometimes goes out and walks her dog like 2 or 3 in the morning, and she's been growled out by something very big by the dumpsters in her apartment complex. Oh, and I reached out to the apartment complex. They will not let me look at the security cameras. No ifs, ands, or buts. No questions. No. Mrs. Moon says they have North and South Skookum Lakes in Washington.
Yeah, but it ain't a fort. It is that we know of anyway.
Kevin Bode says also the gray image on the side of the tree. There is definitely something there. I even slowed it down to like 1/4 speed and watched it, and I could not get a clear image. Whatever it was, he didn't have a high enough frame rate on the camera or whatever to really catch that. I mean, if it had been a faster frame rate, like a high-end camcorder or something like that, we might have gotten a good look. But the low frame rate on the camera app he was using did not do well. Everything I got was just globs.
And
RJ Walker says if he was going to try to bait them and have some trail cams recording, what would be the best bait for a Bigfoot? I'd probably put peanut butter out, like a jar of peanut butter with the lid on it. Because then unless it's chewed up, it wasn't anything. It wasn't just an accident. Something had to have taken the lid off the jar, and that was Brian. Brian was the one that.
That's exactly what I was about to say, because Brian can tell you, you can go back and watch him on the show, especially the first time he was on the show, talking about he finally started dating the top of the dating the lid and dating the bottom.
And sometimes they came back and didn't match.
Yeah, sometimes they would come back with one date, and I think didn't he have different color lids sometimes too, and he would have a different color lid with a different colored bottle or jar, whatever you want to call it. So he's had some
interesting. Eric, have fun. Thanks for dropping by, dude. Northwood says, when my encounter happened 5 years ago, whatever it was I saw was standing next to a dumpster before it took off. The famous video footage that is very difficult to get your hands on, that I'm still trying to, on one of the Cherokee reservations just down here by Miami, Oklahoma, was taken from casino security cameras. A group of them were raiding the dumpster from the restaurant in the casino. I know the video exists, but I can't get anybody to be willing to admit it and or share a copy of it. I'm still working on that. I've got some feelers out with some folks in that area. Robert D says also keep in mind the phones of a few years ago were not as good as nowadays are. True, and then again, we're assuming he's probably not even using the latest generation of phones. I'm one of those guys who I get a cell phone, I use it till it dies before I replace it. So generally, by the time I replace one, it's 8-9 generations out of date. Arkansas Hog Hunter says peanut butter, Jack Link's jerky, and some raspberry preserves. Jeff Yarrington says, Greg, I guarantee the dumpsters around our state parks are active places. Yeah?
Yep.
Well, there was an old boy just down here at Bennett Springs State Park here in Missouri. He had a whole stringer of fish. He was on the far side of the creek before it empties into the Niangua. And he was sitting there fishing and trout fishing, and he looked over and out of the bushes next to him, something big and hairy. He said he didn't want to say what it was, but it was large and it was man-shaped and it was hairy. It took his stringer of fish and went right back up the side of the hill.
Hey, Spencer's in the house.
What's up, Spencer? C. Blanton. I can tell you, but I don't want to say it on the air. Just to be fair, I don't want to say it on the air because I don't want to I don't want to cause anybody any undue stress from getting phone calls. It's one of the casinos, the security footage of the casinos near Miami. And supposedly it happened at another one too. I believe that one was near Broken Bow, though. So it's happened more than once. C. Blanton says, I'm Cherokee off the res. Shoot me an email, droberts at daroberts.net. If you've got connections down there, maybe we can put our resources together and get a copy of that video. Squats and Hollers here. What's up, dude?
Roger.
See you, Roger. David Device says, DA, what else happened near Broken Bow? Near Broken Bow there's a casino near Broken Bow where supposedly they also had footage taken from a security camera pointed at their dumpsters. They thought people were coming in behind the casino and raiding the dumpsters, so they pointed cameras at it. It turned out it wasn't people.
Well,
there's also if you find out who it is, if you can find that footage, dude, please let me know. I'd give my eye teeth to see that footage.
There's other things that happen.
Sonia says Miss Naoma missed the video. Well, I tell you what, folks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link to the video in chat. So if you guys want to watch the video with the sound properly synced up, then you all can watch it. Hopefully you guys will watch it after the show. But this is a very compelling piece of video. And Miss Naoma, if you are going to watch this, slow it down and watch, because I know he points at the tops of the treetops with his flashlight, and you see a lot of the action and movement going on there. But the real compelling bits is the amount of eye shine at the bottom of the screen. To me, that's just, the dude was surrounded and just didn't know it. Kind of like that night when all of us were in Combs Ferry. They were all around us, and we didn't even realize it till we were on the boat.
Yeah.
That could have been very, very bad if things had gone differently. Miriam says near the casino in Ruidoso, New Mexico, too. Huh. Didn't know about the one in Ruidoso. I've been to Ruidoso. There's a racetrack there, Ruidoso Downs. Sherry Porter says, I've heard of the Broken Bow one down south, but I've not heard of the one up near Miami. I'm on the Cherokee Res in Tahlequah. I don't have any inside info, though. Bummer. Yeah, unfortunately. And supposedly not at the casino, but in the Choctaw lands down near Durant, Oklahoma. There have been a lot of sightings down there, just not at the casino. The casino is surrounded by town and major highways, so there's really no place anything like that could get up close without being seen because it's just all open territory. But the land around the Choctaw Nation around Durant, there are plenty of places. It's not far from Brown Springs. It's not far from where the event that is known as the Bigfoot War of 1851. I think it's 1851. The Choctaw Bigfoot War.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. How far was that from Broken Bow?
Probably 20 miles.
Yeah. Because me, you, and Noah figured that out that night. I actually figured out that you wrote that the Wild Hunt in the same area.
Yeah, that's not far from there at all. Gary Spike says the grease trap at Concho was videoed. That's a lot more happens on Indian reservations than we're ever going to know. Because one, the tribal council already accepts the facts that these things are here. It's not like it's a mystery to them that had to be solved. They knew they were there. And they don't generally share anything like that with outside the tribe. They just don't. And, I kind of don't blame them. Would you want a bunch of idiots traipsing all over your land without your permission? No. And it's the same with them. They don't want a bunch of people coming on the reservation who got no business being there because, well, frankly, if I was of the inclination to go on to Native American land, the first thing I'm going to do is get permission. I'm not going to go in there because, number one, I'm not allowed to carry there because that is a sovereign nation. And I don't go unarmed. I've learned my lesson the hard way. I don't go out looking in the woods without having a weapon on. So the only way I would go on the tribal land is with an invite and their permission to carry, because those things can get violent, as we have found on a few occasions. Those things can turn violent at the drop of a hat. Tony Harris says the Lucky Star Casino. Well, if you got any contacts there, if we can get some of that footage, I would love to check it out. Tammy says, just poured myself a Buchanan pineapple scotch with sparkling coconut pineapple water. Huh. I've never tried that. Sounds pretty good. Marlon Cox says, I live in South Carolina. First I've heard about this. Is interesting. Like I said, the original video was posted about 2 years ago, and it made the rounds a couple of years ago, but I didn't see it back then. I'd only seen it recently. And it was kind of making its comeback in short clips on Facebook and on TikTok. Now, once I followed the links and found the original video, you get to see a lot more than just what is shown on Facebook. I think the one on Facebook is only 25, 30 seconds long, but the actual video is over 3 minutes. Spencer's right. Brown Springs has a very sordid history.
Yeah. Texas got into some hairy situations. Matter of fact, that's where he found that handprint that he showed us that night when he was on the show.
On his window.
Yep. Which looked eerily similar to what you had on the side of your car from Gatlinburg.
Yeah. I did have those oily handprints on my car from Gatlinburg.
Yep.
But they weren't full handprints. It was almost like the heel of the hand, like it put its hand like that.
Yours was this way. His was like that.
Yeah, his was flat out hand. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull up those pictures from Gatlinburg. I know I've got them. Just gotta get to that file. So give me just a second. And I'll let people take a look. And the really compelling part about them is how oily they are. And I washed that car like 4 times before they went away. My computer's being really slow, sorry. All right, I'm in the right file now. There we go. Let me bring these images up. Supersize them. Okay. I'm going to share the screen now. These were taken in Gatlinburg the same day I found that print. Now you can see here and here are scuffs where something was up against the car. But this looks like almost like knuckle prints or the hand like that. You can see like a side of a finger and then like the heel of a hand. And I've got other views of it as well. This one you can kind of see a little of the detail better. And this might actually have been like the fist was up against it. It looks like more than one finger here. What do you think, Robbie?
Yeah, I'm trying to, because it was still when we met up at the hotel.
Yeah, it was still on there.
It was still on there, and we were looking at it then. And I'm trying to remember if we had said that it looked like it was like the fist, or because I think at first we thought it might have been like somewhere around maybe like the forearm or the side of the fist, but looking at it again, it does look like maybe it was the fist kind of pushed up against it.
Yeah, because you can see the path of the fingers at the bottom of the print, which would, either the hand, they put their hand on it upside down, or, it just like pressed its knuckles up against it. What do you guys think?
And Robert asked if we had Texas, but no, that's his photo. We don't have that.
Yeah, I don't have Texas photo. He shared them when he was on the show, but these are mine. I took these in Gatlinburg. Well, in the woods outside of Gatlinburg. Our cabin was up in the mountains outside of Gatlinburg. There's the track. Found this the same time. There's that image. What do y'all think? I've sent this image to a few people to get analyzed. I've never heard anything back. But what do you guys think? I mean, it looks like eyes and a nose of something right here. Now I don't do photo analysis. I suck at it. But it looks like something right there. Now, the more you more you go in on it, the fuzzier it gets, so it gets harder to make out. But to me, right there, and I felt like I was being watched from that spot. That's why I kept taking these images. But it looks like something in those bushes. There's another angle, and you can still see the outline of it. So it's not just pareidolia. That was an eagle.
Oh, look, an eagle. Love that commercial.
Yeah, we weren't even intending to look for anything like Bigfoot while we were up in Gatlinburg. It was just a writing retreat for our 30th anniversary, and ended up finding
You had to
some of
go
the best
piss them
evidence.
off with the tongue clicks.
Now I am forbidden from doing that. Oh, yeah, here we go. I'm going to show you this image. That image I showed a second ago, where it looked like something was looking at me from underneath that broken branch. This is the same spot, only can't see anything like that in this image. So that's why I don't really think it's pareidolia. I think it's something in there. And if you look, there's that same exact branch, but you don't see any of that facial structure. You can see the leaves and the twigs, but you don't see any of that facial structure. That's why I really don't think it's pareidolia. I could be wrong. That is pretty country up there, though. Very pretty country.
Yeah.
Tony Harris says Doug Hycheck says that skin oil called sebum might be a good choice, a good a source of DNA.
Yeah, he
I
said.
wish I'd have known that at the time. I didn't even think about collecting any of the oil.
Yeah, he said that after you showed that picture that time when he was on last time he was on the show. That's when he talked about that because he was talking about. Remember, he was talking about he had the same kind of print, either on his boat or a door or something. Maybe it was even his car. But you showed him the picture, and that's when he told us about that night. But
Yeah,
you didn't know about it then.
Examples of that. Kevin Bode says a bear would have left dirt and dust print due to walking on all fours. Yeah, that was not just dust; it was oil. It was very oily. Marlon says, I think it was drawn to you, maybe. I think I drew it in because I was making those tongue clicks. I was popping like the first night we were there, I was out on the balcony at like midnight or so, just popping my tongue like crazy. And now Annette has forbidden me from doing that anytime we go any place like that. She says, if me and Robbie want to do it, we're idiots, but she ain't doing it.
Yeah, she don't care what happens to us.
Don't let anything happen to Noah, and don't do it when she's there.
Yep, that's our standing orders. Which is so counterintuitive that Noah is the Robbie Wrangler.
Everybody says he can't really blame Annette for banning me. Jay Freiberg says some cops you two are. You know, it's a whole different mindset when you find something like that on your own car in the woods than if you're investigating a crime scene. I didn't even look at it as a crime scene. I was just so amazed that something like that had happened at our cabin, and I didn't. The cop brain didn't even kick in.
That's exactly what kicked in. Go towards the danger, not away from it.
Exactly.
That wasn't a firefighter situation. That was a cop situation. I was being a first responder, not a second responder. Sorry to all you hose draggers out there. Not really, but I had to say it, right, DA?
That's right. Had to be said. Sorry, I was answering Doc. Good night, Spencer.
What's the little fella say?
He's been in bed with the flu all day.
I see it.
Just a guy says, DA, you said there was an incident of cryptids taking garbage from an Oklahoma casino. I might not know a guy who has a mother working at one. Do you want to see if I can get an additional details? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let me know if you can find out anything. Because I'm not 100% which casino it was. I know the area, and I know it's happened more than once. Cajun Dog says Congo entered my head. No kidding. Paramedic says, I guess eDNA testing is a lot cheaper than DNA testing. Why not swab a handprint and stir in water sample for eDNA testing? You know, at the time, I didn't even think about it. I wish I had of. I never even considered any type of DNA testing. I just was wondering, you know, if there was. Oh, I took a lot of pictures of it, but you know, I didn't even think once about casting it or taking impressions of it or trying to take DNA. But next time, now that I know about that, I'm definitely going to be taking swabs. Roxanne says, DA, the one, yeah, that one about 5 miles from Joplin, that's the ones I'm talking about. One of them over there near Miami, Oklahoma, which is just across the border from Joplin. Because Joplin's right there, just a couple miles from the Missouri-Oklahoma border. And I don't, you know, heck, well, screw it, I'll say it. I think it was either at Downstream or Buffalo Run. I think that was one of those two. I don't know which. I think it was one of those two that had happened. Of the two, Downstream is probably the more likely of the two. But, you know, like I said, I've got some feelers out in that area with some folks I know, hoping we can come up with something.
Hey, check your messenger. Rodney sent me a picture that he kind of froze in on the image off that, and see if you can pull it up on a bigger screen and see what you think. It's of that video that we just showed.
I will bring it up on the computer because it's not awesome on the phone.
Yeah, that's why I was telling you to bring it up, because I can kind of see it on my phone, but not really good.
Okay, I'm going to bring the image up. This is what Rodney just did quick and dirty. And that's from the video, right?
Yeah, from the video we just showed.
What?
That was right in the area where you were telling everybody to look.
Right. This spot right here and this spot right here are the things that immediately jump out at me.
Yeah,
that almost looks like a set of eyes right there. Right there. And like that might be part of the body. Because this up here looks more like camera lens flare. But that spot looks like something's peeking at him over that branch. And that is right about the area where I saw something move.
Yep.
So what do y'all think? Night, dog.
I think there's something in it. Well, I mean,
I do
obviously there's something in it because, like I said, this video is just amazing for evidence or evidentiary purposes anyway.
Rodney, I'm going to post the link to the video again in the chat. You might be able to get more directly from the actual video instead of trying to screen cap it from us, because you're seeing a second generation image on our screen. But if you can go to the first generation, and when you play back a video clip, you can select the speed at which you play it back. So if you play it back at like 1/4 speed, you might actually be able to isolate something.
Like I said, the more I think about it, the more I think this is just up there with the upper echelon of, because
Well, even if you don't get a clear image, the behaviors are
yeah,
exactly what we've been looking for.
and like I said, how do you go about staging and hoaxing a video like that? Which is
Right.
how we have to look at stuff, and that's how you and I have always looked at stuff.
Ohio, no, I have not seen your pictures, but shoot them to me in my email, and maybe we'll see about getting you guys on and talk about them. That would be pretty badass.
Yep.
But I'd love to see the pictures.
So, how do you go about staging and faking that video? Okay, couple ways you go. You can have you can have pre-cut the logs or the limbs or whatever, and have 5, 6, 7, 8 people down below that are hid with, cables or lines attached to them.
Well, you
Which
would
more
have
than
seen
likely, which more than likely would have showed up on the film, and you would have had to have somebody pointing. Okay, this one. Okay, this one. Pull this one. Pull this one. Pull this one. Kind of starts getting a little too organized and orchestrated for what we were seeing. If you're gonna go through all that much trouble, why would you film it on a cell phone? And really, honestly, that's the only way. Because there's not somebody up in those trees, a person anyway, moving around doing that. And that's the other thing. How do you fake that movement, that fluid movement that whatever was up there was creating?
Kevin Bode said, "Looks like an arm around the branch." I agree.
I don't see how. We've looked at stuff before. And we're like, well, yeah, it could be. I think there's a way you could probably hoax this way, or I don't see a logical way from the way the video is presented. I don't see a logical way that it could be hoaxed and have that video come off the way it did.
Why don't you cue the audio up and we'll watch the first minute and a half again.
All right.
Let me know when you're ready. I'm gonna get this set up so we can watch it again.
I gotta roll back up because when Doc messaged it rolled it back down, so I had to. All right, I'm ready.
All right, hit it.
Ooh, crap! I had to turn the volume up.
I hope you can hear this. It sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me.
Look at the eye shine. Did you see that the one that it just showed? You could actually see it turn and move. There it is again, picking up behind a tree. We've got numerous eye shines in this video, and they are watching him. Robbie, did we lose your audio? Hold on. I think we lost Robbie completely. Lost his audio. Robbie's going to go out and be right back. We'll start this over because for whatever reason, sometimes we lose Robbie's audio. Hadn't done it in a while, though, so that was a plus. Robbie should be right back, and we'll just start her over. RJ Walker says toward the end of the video, almost half the tree comes down. Yeah, it takes a big chunk of that tree down. Dr. 45 says, wonder why he didn't call the police. Probably didn't think the police would believe him.
Yeah, what are you gonna tell them?
Yeah.
Hey,
Something big up in this tree throwing branches at me. You're going to be peeing in a cup. All right, let me know when you got that queued up. We'll start it from the beginning.
go back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, hit it. You can already hear these things starting to growl.
I hope you can hear this. It sounds like
He's not even coming around the tree
hiding
yet.
in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me.
Watch the bottom of the screen. You're going to see a bunch of eye shine. There's at least 5 or 6 species on ground level watching him. C. Blanton says, I swear I saw something run up the limb after that one fell. Does not surprise me. Like I said, what was up in the tree were probably
I've
juveniles.
never seen anything
But
like
there
it
are
in my
big
life.
ones on the ground. From the height of that eye shine,
This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And
I wonder how much of a pucker factor he'd have had if he'd have noticed the eye shine.
Look, they're ruining this
There
freaking
it is again.
Yep.
Got multiple eye shines down at ground level.
And somebody earlier said that was
What
fireflies.
in God's
Fireflies do
name
not
it's bigger than me,
sustain
whatever
like
it
that.
is.
Those are
It's
constant.
breaking limbs off that it would take me.
And fireflies rarely appear in groups of 2.
And if you notice, when he turned the flashlight off, the eye shine disappeared. Or whatever.
Yeah, there's one looking at him right there. Now, I did see what looked like it might have been a moth in the light,
He's fixing to
but
throw
I'm not
something
seeing
at me, whatever
fireflies.
it is. Yeah, they don't like you messing with them. Look. What in God's name
Philip Miller asks, where is this? What state? This is in
is going on?
north middle South Carolina.
Look, that's bigger than me. Look at that. Look at that.
Look
Look
at
at
the size of this branch that comes down.
what in Jesus' name is doing this?
That is a massive chunk of
Oh
tree.
my God, he just took half the tree down. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, it's gotta be I don't even think a bear would have a chance in Hades and it doing this. It's something stronger than a bear. And he is pissed.
Another eye shine.
Yeah,
And it moved.
that's a healthy tree.
More eye
about
shine right there on the
8,
corner.
10,
There.
maybe 12 inches in diameter that he just broke because he's
Eye
pissed
shine
from getting
in
close
the
to it.
trees at the bottom, and he's not even noticing they're there.
I think I'm gonna bounce because I think he just hit the ground, which means he's about to face me on foot. And I don't
Dude,
really
there's
want to wrestle with somebody that can tear trees down just because they're mad. My God, look at the tree he just freaking broke in half.
What do y'all think of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a ton of eye shine. Multiple. I think there was 3 or 4 of those things in the treetops, but there were multiple on the ground. And Judy McKee says, I can't believe he stood out there. He probably stayed out there longer than I would have, because you can ask Robbie. One of the things, even if there was movement up in the trees, I'm still looking at ground level for eye shine, because we got suckered by that and almost walked right into it, and I ain't doing it again. Although Patty says she saw something jump from tree to tree. Yeah, there's several times when you can see motion, but it's like he's filming it on a potato. I mean, it's probably an old cell phone. Wouldn't even surprise me if it was a camera on an old flip phone, because the camera footage is not great. Sonia says she saw a face. Steve Pad says DA's right. After the big limb fell, you can see something grayish where the hole was for a split second. Yeah, you can definitely see something's there. Jeff Yarrington says he can definitely see hands grabbing limbs. There's clear motion in this video, and the sheer amount of eye shine at the bottom. Again, like Robbie was saying, to me, this is one of the most credible pieces of video I've seen in a good long while. It may not be the clear smoking gun of the Patterson Gimlin, but to me, for quality of the video and what you're getting, I think this one ranks up there. It is he's definitely filming primate behavior in the woods at night in South Carolina.
To me, it's just as good as something like the Sierra sounds. I mean, you don't see any. I mean, there's no video to that. That's just plain out audio. But that is because of the way it's been analyzed. That's one of the best pieces of evidence that we've got. Why can this not be up there too? I mean, yeah, you don't see them.
The guy says go 5 seconds, the timestamp of Steve's comment. And then I can try. You said at 5 seconds? Let me see what I can do.
5 seconds before whatever he was talking about.
Oh, I think he's talking about when that branch came down. Trying to find the spot where that big old branch comes down. Okay, I'm going to go to right at the 2-minute mark, and I'm going to set this thing. Well, I'm going to set it at maximum resolution, which I don't think it's actually going to play at. And I'm going to try to slow it down. Playback speed, there we go. We are going to play it at 0.25 speed. So we don't need any audio on this because it's going to get really, really bad. But I'm going to go from the 2-minute video, the 2-minute mark, at 1/4 speed. So you guys are seeing this for the first time, just like me. So we are going to watch this. This is at 1/4 speed. I'm right at the 2-minute mark. We are watching, like I said, at 1/4 speed.
All ahead.
Won't have any audio because it would just be like, oh. Anyway.
Well, I can't match what you're doing on my phone anyway, so.
The 2-minute mark should be before that branch comes down. He turned his flashlight off for whatever reason. Judy, so they about defoliated that tree. Yeah, they took a lot of branches out. Maz says, whatever happened to Bigfoot Tony channel? I don't know who Bigfoot Tony is. She'd turn that light back on. Oh, did you see that? Okay. Let me pause this. I went back and stopped it. Watch right over in here. At 1/4 speed, you see something that looks like, well, it looks like the shape of a body go from one branch to the other. Right about here. There. See it?
Yep. It goes from right to left.
Yeah, it goes from right to left. It's right about here. You see the movement? Watch right in here, folks. there.
Yeah, right
Did it
there.
come up?
Uh-huh.
What the hell was that? Going back again. We're going to watch her one more time. Again, this area right here.
It pretty much
Wish I
jumped
could-
over your cursor, your mouse pointer.
Right.
Right there. Right over the mouse pointer.
One more time. I got to see that again. I wish I could slow it down and wish I could zoom it in. But I've been trying to download this video and I can't. Or if there's a way to do it, I don't know. It's going to be right in here. Watch close. Right there. Keep letting it play, but we know that was at about 2 minutes 11 seconds. At about 2 minutes 10, 2 minutes 11, somewhere in there. That's where we see that move across that tree. Something's moving those branches. I wish he'd quit panning around, though. I wish he'd just keep it on one particular area. And it is shaking the shit out of that tree. I think that big branch has already come down. I think I started it too late. I want to go back to about the 1 minute mark. Let's start playing it from here. Yeah, that was at 49 seconds. We'll just let her run. Yeah, there's more tree branch there. So I think we're fixing to see that tree branch come down. So the first pretty good sized stick comes down. It was probably diameter of a baseball. I mean, it wasn't huge, but it wasn't tiny. I mean, you know, everything looks smaller on these cameras, so I would guess that was a pretty good sized chunk of wood, but it wasn't massive. Now, there's something clearly moving in those bushes and those branches. You can't see it, but you can see from the movement of the branches, something pretty good size is moving through them. I think we're fixing to lose that branch.
Back up, DA. Back up.
Okay.
Do you see that limb that looks like it's a circle up towards the top, right at the top of this?
There?
Yeah. Watch right around up in there.
Okay.
As this plays. Right, see it? Right above that circle. Like, I don't know if that was a branch that snapped back across or if that was something else jumping across. That went from left to right.
God dang. Instantly eye shine popped up. Like something right here.
Yep. Something jumps up behind that tree right there in the foreground.
Yep. I think we may be about to see that big old branch come down. Something just moved right there. And I think it dropped down to about here.
There's another big stick that just got
Mhm.
chunked down. Look at that right there.
Yep.
Another big one that just come falling down.
I really wish he'd quit turning the flashlight off and on. But, beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
Yeah.
That might be the light on his phone, too.
My brother was watching this today, and he was up there. God, would you learn how to use a flashlight?
Northwest Native says a black shape in the V behind the tree trunk. We're at 1:35. I think this branch may be about to come down because I don't exactly know what timestamp the tree branch comes down. Well, when it comes down, I'm kind of anxious to see it when it comes down at quarter speed because it's pretty impressive coming down at full speed. And that whole section is wide open for just a couple seconds. I imagine we've got to see something.
Jeff, I think he keeps turning the flashlight off because he keeps getting scared that they're going to come after him if he keeps it on.
A little blurry there.
Yeah, I think autofocus on his camera was.
Well,
He
the
was
way the
moving.
light's moving and the camera is not tracking.
Yeah.
He's using a flashlight. It's not the camera light. Because if it was the camera light, it would be moving in sync with the camera, but it's not. I think he knows right where it is. He just can't get a view of it. I mean, if we were standing out there, we would be able to pinpoint from the sound of it pretty much the spot where it was hiding.
Yeah.
Hard to do that on just a cell phone video, but it's a whole different animal when you're out there. I don't know what time index that big branch comes down.
I don't either. I don't remember.
I would have thought it'd come down already.
Don't tempt me, Greg, with a good time. You know I'll do it. I ain't scared.
Yeah, we should be right about the time when we saw that movement last time. Yep, right there it went across.
Yep.
It's right there. So it's at like 216, not 210. Right there. It comes out, goes right across. Oh, and there's the branch dropping.
Yep.
Dude. I can't see any way this was hoaxed.
Ah.
Oh, did you see the arm come up right there?
Back I was looking down at the bottom of the screen.
Watch right here. Watch it. See it? Right.
Yep. It reaches up over across the top of the.
Yep.
That little.
Sure does. We'll play that back again. You actually see something reach up and grab a branch. Right in here. I think no, right in here. Yep. There is so much freaking activity in this.
Yeah.
And a good chunk of it he's not even aware of. The eye shine on the ground. I think there's at least 3 or 4 of the things in the trees.
Well, and just think of what we're missing. As much as he's not even focused on one area, he's moving around so much. There's
Had something right here.
what else have we missed? Just
there was something right here. Don't know for sure what it was. I'm going to rock it back about 3-4 seconds. So watch this area right. I think it's right in here. Something moves. See it?
Yep.
Right there. And there. I think it's trying to get behind a tree as he brings the light back on it. Right there. And then it dropped down farther.
There's just so much activity in this.
Right there. God dang it. Something was just shaking the hell out of that branch.
There's only one word I can use to describe this video: insane.
Yeah, this video is flipping nuts. I would love to have an actual video copy of this, because with a good video editing software, you could even break it down even further. But I can't. I don't know of a way to download it. I tried downloading it off of Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, and had no success. Then you see eye shine right here at the bottom of the screen, right there. It ducks behind the tree as the light comes back on, and there it comes back out.
DA, look at your messenger. Ohio Bigfoot Research wants you to look at your messenger.
My Facebook Messenger.
I would assume.
Dang.
Look, Patty says right there, I'd move, I'd leave everything behind and leave. Oh, come on, little Patty. It ain't that bad.
Those are great images, dude. I'm not going to show them on the show because I'd like to, see about maybe getting you guys on to talk about them. Because that's one thing for me to talk about an image, and it's quite another thing for the people that actually took them. So yeah, let's see if we can maybe work out a time, get you all on the show to talk about these. Damn good images. There's just so much flipping motion in this. Between eye shine and things moving in the trees, this is an incredible video.
So I'm saying, at first when I said that to my dad, them up there, they're like, but there's nothing really in it. I'm like, yeah, there is. I said, just watch. I said, don't watch the video expecting to see Bigfoot's face. Watch the video and watch all the activity. Watch the movement. Watch the behavior that's on display. Watch everything that's happening. I said, and I told him, my dad retired as a police officer. My brother's an officer in the Marine Corps, but he was a reserve police officer before he got in the Marine Corps. And I'm like, y'all use your law enforcement analytical mind on this and watch this. I said, tell me how it could have been faked.
Right.
Of course, like I said, my dad believes it, but my brother's like, I honestly don't see how it could have been.
All right, that's coming up on the end of the video. I'll stop sharing it. But I put the link in the chat, folks. I'm going to do it one more time. I'll put the link to the actual video in there. Any of you guys that are better at technology than I am, if you guys can break down this video, send me some stills, or if you can find things I'm missing, I'd love to hear about it.
I'm sure Rodney will be working on it. We'll be getting some stuff from him because he loves doing that stuff.
All right, Rodney, tear it apart, brother. Yeah, this is one of the best pieces of video I've seen.
And see, you didn't go into this necessarily thinking that until we actually started breaking stuff down. Then you're like, what? Yeah,
I thought it was a good video, but I did even before I broke it down at 25%, I thought it was a good video, but it's even better when you slow it to 25%.
That's what I'm saying. It's freaking amazing how much behavior and how much activity is in this darn video.
Yeah, there's a ton of activity and ton of motion. I would say, if I had to guess, I would say there's probably at least 10 of those things somewhere around him.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think he, people are like, I'd move, I'd leave, I'd go out. I don't think he realized. He was thinking 1, 2 things were there. He had no clue that he was pretty much surrounded.
Yeah. From the amount of eye shine we kept seeing on the ground and from the amount of motion, there was 3 to 4 of the things in the trees and probably 5 or 6 on the ground, maybe even more that we didn't see.
And here's the thing. We're only seeing
off of that deck and out into the woods. I think this would.
Yeah. We're only seeing this field of vision right here. Who knows what was back over here?
Yeah. And
over here that we couldn't see. And even further back that, that camera just didn't even pick up.
C. Blanton says, did anybody check to see if there were any zoo breaks in the area? If there had been that many like chimpanzees escaped from a zoo, it would have made the news. And this was, like I said, this was 2 years ago. There was not too long ago, was in South Carolina. They had some monkeys get out, but they weren't that big. They weren't chimp size. They were small, like rhesus monkeys.
Yeah. And that video don't line up with when that happened. The video was 2 years ago. This was like a couple months ago when they escaped. And like he said,
this guy, his name is Jeff X 1414 is his YouTube channel. He's got 161 subscribers, and this video was uploaded 2 years ago. So it was well before the South Carolina monkey escape.
Yeah.
That was in November. They were rhesus macaques, nowhere near the size of what would have taken to move that tree.
It would have had to been like a whole swarm of them. I'm talking like that had to been 50, 60, even 70 of them things in there to do the kind of damage that was being done in that tree. Because those things are like, 12, 13 pounds on the high side.
Consult the Googles.
Look at the Googles.
Weighs about 12 to 17 pounds, an adult male macaque. Rhesus macaque. 12 to 17 pounds, wasn't shaking that tree.
Yeah. So I said 12. What? I said 12 to 15. So that's pretty close.
Yeah. Less than 20 pounds.
So it would have took about 50 to 70 of them to, and I don't even think 50 to 70 of them could have broke that big branch that came down.
Right. Larry Berlin says, "House, do you think they're trying to get him off the deck?" I think they were trying to get him to leave. I think that was the whole thing was they didn't want him out there. Because he said at the beginning of the video, that's the second time that had happened to him.
Yeah, he did say that.
Derek R says the tree's being pushed behind by a tractor. Now, I don't buy that. There is no point in there where you can see any kind of tractor or hear an engine. You can hear something growling, but it's not an engine.
And as loud and as clear as those, and I think it's 2 years ago, phones were not, like somebody pointed out earlier, phones were not as good, and they didn't have noise canceling software that was on phones at that time. You would have heard as clear and as crisp as those limbs breaking were. They wouldn't have had. There's number one. There was no tree. A tractor's not going to be able to make limbs fall from way up here and fall down like it was. It would have made the whole tree fall over. So, like I said, I'm not here trying to say you're wrong. I'm here trying to say everything that you possibly have thought of, I have already tried to think of and work through in my head, because that's the way I try to do this, is go from the back to the front and say, how could this have been hoaxed?
Why don't you play about go bring up the audio on your end and play about the first 15, 20 seconds and listen to the growls. That is not an engine revving up. That is not a tractor. That is something with a very deep bass to it that's growling like a kind of growl. It doesn't sound like a motor.
I hope
You can already hear
this.
trees
It sounds
snapping
like
there.
Yeah,
gorillas fighting in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you
mean-
got tree branches breaking and no motor sounds.
there's no mechanical sound in that whatsoever.
That's not sawdust in the air. That's just
I've never
dust.
seen anything like it in my life.
It looks like dust and insects in the air to me. You watch the video we made when we were on Combs Ferry. It's full of crap like that too, and there wasn't any motors or chainsaws or anything like that running. It was
And
just
the first
bugs and
time
dirt.
when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And I still cannot figure out what it is.
Yeah, there are no motor sounds
They're
whatsoever.
ruining this freaking place.
All right, you can go ahead and shut her down. Yeah, you can hear big limbs snapping and no motor sounds. Cajun Dog says, my redneck tail would have been reaching for something that goes boom. Damn right.
Yep.
Well, I even going fishing, I go fishing with 1911 of my friends, if you get my drift. My old friend 1911. Colonel Colt's gift.
I like decimal points. 5.7 of my friends.
We go back on to Combs Ferry. There's going to be some pretty large decimals going with me this time.
Yeah, I got 12 of them that want to come with me.
458 of them.
Yeah, that too. Or 300. I hadn't decided. Maybe all of them. You know.
My good buddy Garand might be tagging along. She's heavy, but she'll make an impressive hole.
She probably not as heavy as the big girl though.
That Garand's got an oak stock.
They're
She's
they're probably pretty close. How much she weigh?
I couldn't tell you how much she weighs unloaded.
I think the big girl weighs 8.5, 9, somewhere around in there.
Okay, according to the Googles, an unloaded M1 Garand weighs 9.5 pounds.
Yeah, they're about the same then.
Let freedom ping. Again, Derek, I don't think it's sawdust. Looking at that video, I think it's just dirt and crap in the air. Sawdust is generally, especially if you're sawing, most of that sawdust is clumpy and falls to the ground. That stuff's like falling through the air. That's dust and dirt particles and all kinds of crap that's getting shaken loose from those trees. That's not sawdust, because if there was a saw cutting through anything, one, you would hear the motor, or you would hear the noises they're sawing manually, and you would see it fall from one spot, because most of the bigger pieces of sawdust are too heavy to hang in the air. This is in the air all over the place.
Yeah.
Steve Patton says 0.45 ACP anti-cow projectile. Yeah, I'm with Sonia. I don't see sawdust. I just see dirt in the air and the occasional insect. But again, folks, Robbie and I don't claim to be any kind of experts. We're just giving you our opinion on what we saw. Form your own opinions. Do your own research. Watch the video. I posted the link a few times. Watch the video at slow speed. Form your own opinions. We're not going to tell you guys what to think.
Yeah,
we're just telling you what we think.
That's why I say, I say, I'm not saying any of this to say you're wrong or I'm just saying I don't believe it's this because of this.
Yeah, just because I disagree with you doesn't mean you're wrong. I mean, I could be 100% wrong. There are no experts in this field. This is just what I think.
Yeah. I don't believe it was a big cat or a bear. I don't believe it was anything mechanical out there in nature. I don't believe there was a
something
tractor
with hands.
I don't believe it was anybody out there with a saw. Because for somebody, look, my lieutenant, for his side job, cuts trees. I've seen him cut trees. He's probably as good as anybody that I've ever seen. And he couldn't do some of that stuff. Number one. Number two, like DA said, you're going to hear that saw. Because you ain't up there with a handsaw cutting those things down.
Ain't nobody going to be swinging around a tree like that without a safety rope or a ladder. Yeah, go ahead, Robbie. Sorry.
No, that's what I was saying. I mean, it's just, and like I said, I'm saying that because that's what I believe. Not because I'm, super smart, super genius on this stuff. It's just, that's just my deductive reasoning on it.
Little Patty says, what's the name of the YouTube channel again? It is Jeff, GEFFX 1414. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat too. I just posted that. That's in the that's the name of the YouTube channel, and I posted the link, and I'll just go ahead and post that again. Here's the actual link to this particular video. Again, it was posted 2 years ago, and the comment on the video that he wrote himself said, "This happened to me when I was headed to fish at an apartment lake around 11 p.m. Approximately 30 seconds after I quit videoing, the entire tree popped so loud and then fell. I got out of there." And the comments for the video are turned off, so I don't know if he had previous comments or if he just recently turned it off, but there are no comments available on the video.
He probably had people giving him a hard time.
Oh, I'm sure. Probably saying he hoaxed it, or you know how people are. People were giving him a rash of crap. I would love to be able to find this guy and get him to come on and talk about the video. No judgments, no calling him a hoax or anything like that. Just flat out have the guy tell us about because he said it happened before. I'd like to hear about both times.
I'm gonna see what I can do about running the guy down, see if I can get in touch with him for us.
Well, like on our channel, it's got a contact email, and I am not seeing one on his.
I'm probably just gonna get on the TikToks and see if I can just send him a direct message that way.
Yeah, he does not have a contact email on his YouTube. So that may be intentional. That may just be because it's a small channel. And he's only got 172 subscribers now. Looks like it went up by about 3 or 4 while we were talking about it.
Speaking of going up, can I plug that right quick?
Yep. Yeah, have you got a link?
Well, just gonna tell them to go to YouTube because I didn't actually have the link because I wasn't exactly planning on doing it today. It just kind of hit me, and I'm like, I might as well do it.
What's the name of the show?
JoJo Cool's Football Picks. JoJoCool Football Pick Show. My cousin Jordan is, any of you football fans, she is, and I know the season's almost over, but they just asked me the other day about this. They do a football pick show mostly for college, and I think they do some for the
Just post the
playoffs
link.
for the playoff season for the NFL. They've got a pretty good show. It's my uncle and my cousin that are the stars of the show, but they've only got about 43 subscribers, and they're trying to build their channel. So I told them, I said, I'll go on and mention it. I know we got a lot of football fans on here, so they'll go check them out. They don't just do the ACC around here. They pick all the major games, and my cousin Jordan's pretty good. I don't usually bet against her. And yeah, Dr. Sharp, we thought about that. We talked about that earlier in the show, but most of those branches were bigger than what you just said. Calls that.
Yeah, most of them were pretty good. Well, the guy says in the video that some of them were bigger.
It would take them 2 minutes to saw through with a saw. So like I said, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I have thought of every single one. We've been looking at this video since Monday. I have literally thought about this video all week, trying to figure out, okay, what could do this? How could they set this up? And I just don't see a way with the technology that this guy probably had, or not probably. I mean, obviously you can see the technology he had. I don't. No, Greg, this is not the first time that happened. It happened last year.
We've actually done that a couple times.
Yeah. So smart, Alex.
Dr. 45120 said pre-cut branches, small cables to bring them down. Again, we would have seen the lines of the cables somewhere.
And
I don't.
A pre-cut branch is not going to make that big popping, cracking sound like that. If it's pre-cut, you might hear a crack, but it ain't going to be nothing like that shotgun crack. Greg, you've heard these things break tree branches in the yourself. How does that, what we just heard, how does that stack up to it? Do you think that was pre-cut, or do you think that was somebody in there, or do you think that was some of these creatures in there breaking it? You've heard it in the wild, in the field. What do you think?
We got about a 5-second delay.
Yep, that's
Greg
why I'm
says
waiting.
100% creature. Yeah, I agree, Greg. To me, that is not. The dude is freaking out. I don't think he's aware of any hoax, because generally when somebody's trying to act, especially somebody that's not good at it, it's going to come across. But that dude sounds genuinely shook up.
Yeah, and like I said, the biggest thing in my mind is you're not going to have the sound that you had of those things cracking if it's pre-cut like that, because you're going to have to cut through them.
Yes, there are plenty of hoaxes out there, but I don't think this is one of them.
Yeah, because if you cut through one of those, a limb that size, far enough to where a person on the ground with a cable, which you would have been able to see the cable too. I didn't even say anything about that part of it. But let's say they had them completely hidden, they had a pulley system and everything. They had went through and set all this stuff up. Still, you would have heard the crack that you heard. It would not have been the sound. Yeah, like Wyatt said, what you would have heard if they had pre-cut those branches would not have been what come across those speakers. You would have heard a crack, but nothing like what it is.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Like I said, I'm not trying to be argumentative or say you're wrong. I'm just saying I've spent all week thinking about this, and that was one of the first things that I thought of was, okay, they probably set this up with cables or something like that. Then I started thinking about it, and I started listening. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" And I even actually asked my lieutenant. I said, "Hey, if I wanted to stage something, and I pre-cut some limbs, and I did this and all this stuff, I didn't tell him what the video was. I just said, listen, I just want you to listen to this sound. And I let him hear the sound. And my lieutenant, who does, like I said, did this for a side job before his dad died. Him and his dad did this for a living. He said, no, that ain't a pre-cut branch, Bo. He said, that branch was broke. He said, that was a live break. That's what he called it. Meaning, wasn't pre-cut. So, take that as you will. But
well, Greg, also, if that had been a cable or a rope, at some point when branches fell, you would have seen the rope hitting other branches on the way down. Or you would see the branch dangling from the rope as it fell. There were no ropes on any of those branches. That did not sound like a recording.
there again,
when you play back recording and then record it, you always get that speaker sound. That sounded like it was a live break to me.
Try to go set something like, or even something small like that. Go try to set all that stuff up and get everything to work together perfectly like that did, and tell me how easy it is to set something like that up.
Very difficult to hoax.
Because not only do you have the limbs breaking, you have something that's got to move. Because there was times that things were moving around in those trees without limbs breaking.
Yeah,
so
and if I'd
have to account for that too.
If I'd have been hoaxing that, I would have been talking about the eye shine. He never mentions the eye shine because he didn't know it was there. There was a lot in this video that stands out when you watch it, especially when you watch it at slow speeds, that this guy obviously didn't even know what was happening. The eye shine's just one of them. I mean, hell, we saw the clips where we saw something literally jump from branches. That's not faked. If that was a person up there, they would have fallen to their death.
He's got 172 subscribers. What does he? Obviously,
the video is just now getting notoriety from 2 years ago.
Yes, obviously, it's not something that that shot him to fame overnight. I think the guy it was something that he caught on video that he wasn't sure quite what he had, but now, like I said, 2 years ago, the topic was still kind of because think about it, when we were doing shows 2 years ago, we're sitting here right now almost 2 hours in with 226 people watching.
Yep.
This time 2 years ago, we were lucky if we had like 80 people watching us at this time.
Y'all, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. We got, according to the thing, 228 people watching. And I don't know how many likes we've got on the actual YouTube video, but on my screen's only showing 22. So if you guys can, hit that like, share, and subscribe.
Okay, Dr. 45. If it's on the only pre-cut partly, okay, fine. But where's the cables and all that stuff like we were talking about? Where are those on the video? Because how are you going to pull those things down and get them to fall like that? Because those things were falling straight down. So if they had a cable attached to them, where's the cable in the video? Because you would have seen it.
You would have seen the cable still attached to the branches, especially that big branch that came down.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just saying. I've spent all week game planning this stuff.
Not just game planning. We were looking when we first started talking about this video with me, Robbie, and Doc. We were looking to tear it apart.
Yeah. And when I say game planning, I don't mean game planning for this. I mean game planning of, okay, if I was going to fake this, how would I do it? That's what I mean when I say game planning. And every little thing that I come to, I'm like, okay, well, how would I get past this? Crap, I don't know how I'd get past this. How would I get past the cables showing up on the video? I don't know. How would I? I don't know how I can.
If this guy was trying to hoax it, he would have pushed this video 2 years ago. This video, he didn't even put it on TikTok. Someone else found this video and took a clip of it and posted it on TikTok, which got shared on Facebook. It's not even this guy who brought this, to our attention. It was just somebody found it, posted a clip from it, and we chased it down. This is an obscure video. Yeah, it's got a bunch of videos now because it kind of went viral on TikTok. It's got like 35,000 views, but I would guarantee if you'd have found it 2 weeks ago, it probably only had a couple hundred, if that.
Yeah. So you know, I'm, you know, like Steve Blunt said, I just don't, I don't think it's fake. I don't think, could somebody with a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of setup do this? Yes, obviously it could, because look at the movies we got. It could be, but do I believe this guy had the time, the money, the effort, and the ability to set that? And I don't mean ability in a bad way. I mean ability is in, you know, did he have all the necessary things to be able to do this? No, I don't think he did. I just don't think this video was faked. Ed, Northwest Native Tracker makes a great point that I didn't even make. If they were cabled up, then he would have had to have cables going in all different directions, because those branches were falling in different directions. So you're going to take the time to go out there.
This video was on NVTV a couple of days ago at 19.15 to 20 minutes. You'll see a full body and face, which means they had a chance to analyze it better than we did. You know what? I am going to go to NVTV and find that video right now. I mean, that's a short section, and I will see if I can find it. Yeah, they got a few more subscribers than us, like 170,000.
Just a few.
Okay, let me see. Okay. Got to find the video. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, give me just a second. Now I'm going to go from 19.15 to 20 minutes. So, okay. Hold on. It hit me with a commercial. Okay. Let me pause that. We're at 1914. I'm going to, folks over at NVTV, we're going to call this fair use. We're only going to watch a few seconds of this. And again, this is copyright NVTV from their breakdown. God dang it, stupid commercials. I just got rid of one. I should watch this on my other channel. I don't get commercials on my personal YouTube.
Yeah, that's not sawdust in the air either. That's just like pollen and leaves and debris and trash and bugs getting stirred up from all these limbs falling.
Yeah, I don't see the face. If they found it, they're not isolating it. Okay, I'm going to have to stop sharing that before I get a copyright strike.
Yeah. We don't need that.
Tony Vitale, subscribe to the channel. Hey, man, thank you. I'm going to keep watching that in the background and see if I can spot where he shows the... Yeah, I'm not seeing a full body and a face.
And Dr. Ross playing devil's advocate, paint the cables black. There again, how much effort does this guy want to go to for 172 subscribers?
Yeah, for a 3-minute video 2 years ago. I don't think this is hoaxed.
I mean,
I could be.
Yeah, I get it, devil's advocate, but you got to have something. You got to have a play. You got to have something, some kind of.
This gone immediately viral? Yeah, but for it to suddenly show up on TikTok 2 years after he posted on his YouTube channel.
And the thing is, if you're going for your 15 minutes of fame and you're going through all the effort of hanging these cables and pre-cutting all this stuff, and and painting these cables black, doing all this stuff, why are you going to post it on your TikTok channel? Why are you going to
he didn't even post it. It was on a different TikTok channel.
Yeah. Why are you just going to post it? Why are you not going to take it to somebody and say, look what I got?
Yeah, go to a news source with it, or contact one of the big channels and say, this is what I got. He didn't do any of that.
So
kind of like our Joe Bald video. We didn't even know we had anything on the video at all for a year.
Yeah. So playing devil's advocate in reverse, where's his end game going with that?
We'll watch that whole NVTV video later and see if I can find it. But I couldn't find what looked like a full head and face. Hillary says, look in the dark spot next to the falling debris. Yeah, I can't see how or why this would have been faked. Because if he did fake it, he did nothing with it.
Yeah. Because if you're going to go to all that effort, you're not just going to post it on TikTok and that's it. If you're going to go, because he would have had to done a lot. I think, Dr. 45, I think you would agree that if he did fake it, this was not something that was just a 5-minute throw together thing to fake it. This would have had to.
There are so many details in there that he doesn't even comment on. If you were making a hoax, you would point out things because you would want people to see them. That eye shine, I spotted that like the second time I watched it. I was watching where he pointed his flashlight. I wasn't watching the bottom of the screen. And I was like, hey, wait a minute, boys, because me and Robbie and Doc were talking. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, boys. What's the bottom of the screen? I'm seeing a lot of eye shine down at the bottom of the screen. And that's when we're all like, oh, shit. And he never once comments on the eye shine.
So if you're going to go through all that time and effort and put all that into it, why just stop where you did? Because if it's a fake, I think we can all agree that's one of the best hoaxes that I've ever seen, if it is.
Vicki Dennison's got a great point. She said, remember, he's in an apartment complex. They're not going to let him tear stuff up out there to make a video. Wyatt's right. That would have been a hell of a lot of work for a fake. Because you'd have been having something out there for the eye shine. You'd have been pulling branches down. Not to mention one whole section of the tree that was massive. That's a lot of work to hoax that for something he didn't even try to post as legitimate footage on his YouTube channel. It says God or Bigfoot or Sasquatch or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just God or Sasquatch.
I just, what's your end game, and what gets you there? And I don't think he had an end game. I think he got stuff on video that he had no clue what he had, and he just posted it and hey, here, this is what I got. Look at it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the apartment complex angle. If that was an apartment complex and he was out there pre-cutting branches and pulling them down, there would have been cops involved. Like, you're not cutting up our trees for this complex. You're not doing it. I think it's a lot bigger leap of faith to think it is a hoax than it is to think it's not. There's just too much in it that if he had faked it, he would have pointed it out, or at least red circled spots to isolate. Because we found that where something goes between branches, when we slowed it down to 25%, I hadn't even seen it before.
And this is just like we talked about before. With think of it from a logistic standpoint. If things like this. If Bigfoot itself is a hoax, think about how big of a nationwide, back up. How big of a worldwide operation it would be to continually hoax something like this.
Dr. 45120, we don't know. He may have called the cops. We're looking at 3 minutes of video, and I guarantee you the cops didn't respond, code 3 for we got branches coming down and something in the trees. If they sent a cop, he'd have been there in half an hour and 45 minutes. So
and we answered that when you said that. We were like, what's he gonna say? Hey, I got some Bigfoot up in the tree throwing branches at me.
The apartment complex could have called the cops, but that doesn't mean, one, that if they were a busy night, they're not coming because you've got something in your tree dropping branches. Or two, if they did show up, they probably didn't show up for a good amount of time later. And the guy either didn't wait around or just didn't film his interaction with the cops. So we don't know for sure. Cops might have been there.
Yeah.
So it's
all
hard
we
to
know
say.
is in the video that you saw, they weren't involved.
Greg House says, if this is fake, he just jumped off the screen. Said, if this is fake, he did a better job than most movies being produced in Hollywood. Superfly says, Greg H., if you're still on here, you get a tornado warning close to y'all. Y'all batten down the hatches and be safe. Yeah, little Patty, if cops had showed up and all those branches were down, if he'd have faked that, he'd have got arrested for destruction of property. And Don Donaldson says, before I'd call the police, I'd call Fish and Game. I don't even know if Fish and Game had come for that.
No, because they're going to ask you what it is.
And, what are you going to say? I don't know what it is. There's something big up in that tree throwing branches at me.
And if I guarantee you that's probably a bear, and they wouldn't have come out for that. Trust me,
Exactly.
we had one up a tree in the city and called them. As the police department, we called them, and they're like, it'll come down eventually. What, you mean you're not coming out for it? No, it'll come down eventually. So if they're not going to come out for a known species, you going to tell them, well, it's Bigfoot up there throwing stuff down? They really ain't going to come out then. And there again, we're not trying to be argumentative. We've talked about this all week.
I really think that it is far more of a stretch to think it is a hoax, because the amount of effort it would have gone to take to hoax that, and for him to not even point out some of the most terrifying portions of this. If there had been somebody up in that tree that jumped between branches, he would have highlighted that section and circled it if it had been a hoax. They would have wanted you to see that. And we didn't even see it until we slowed it down to 25%. And didn't know it was there. We just stumbled across it.
Yeah, that goes along with is there somebody out there in the woods just randomly putting tracks in places that just to hope on the out chance that somebody might walk through that remote area and catch that track or find that track? I just don't see, and I get what you're saying. I really do, because like I said, all week that I've tried to go up and down the line and see what I can come up with, and every time I come up with, okay, it can be done this way, but okay, it can be done this way, but there's a big open space in the middle of all these things that I come up with. Could have been done with a tractor. I wonder
if he still goes night fishing.
I doubt it. But could have been done with a tractor or a bulldozer, but there's no mechanical sounds on there that says that. Could have been done with cables and pulleys, but you would have seen them on the video, and they would have had to been set up in all different directions. It's just, could have had 15 people out there helping him out, but you would have seen one of them or heard one of them. It just
Tony Vitale says at 33 seconds and 35 seconds you can see a figure. It just popped off the screen. You can see a figure and hand in the flashlight area just right of the tree trunk. Yeah, so y'all are spotting stuff we didn't even see. And my advice is, if you guys think this is hoaxed, watch it at 25% speed. Watch the whole video. Um, and if you can find cables and evidence of a saw, show me. I'd love to see it. I mean, I'm not afraid one bit of calling out a hoax video. There are a lot of BS videos out there. You guys have heard me refer to the red circles as bullshitography. So I'm not afraid to call out a hoax video. I don't think this is it.
Naomi's watching it one frame at a time, which if she's watching it one frame at a time, she would definitely be able to see if there's any cables attached to any of those limbs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. At some point, those cables would have showed up in at least a frame. Just a guy says 0.25 speed, the entire video would be about 12 minutes. Yeah. So it's going to take you a bit longer to watch the entire video on slow speed. But Miss Naoma's looking at it one frame at a time. Miss Naoma, if you find anything, screen cap it and send us the videos. And maybe we'll do a part 2 on this and break it down even further.
Well, Toshi said he keeps looking at it completely slowed down. Can't see anything that looks like a rope or cable or any kind of chain.
Hillary says, my vote's for Occam's razor. It is what it is. Dude caught cold. Yeah, Occam's razor says the simplest explanation is usually the explanation. It's usually it. The simplest explanation is he had something up in that tree breaking branches, because the level of difficulty in hoaxing this video, it would have been much easier just to have some guy in a furry suit walk between two trees and him catch it on a grainy video and post it as a Bigfoot video. This is going to some tremendous lengths if it was faked. Tony's right. Says if you're going to say it's a hoax, then prove it's the hoax. We can't say it's a hoax. We have to prove it's real. It goes both ways.
Yeah, and I don't think Dr. Roth is saying. I think he's just playing devil's advocate, like you said. But like I said, I've done that exact same thing.
Well, Patty, if you've got YouTube on your video, on your TV, you should be able to slow it down to 25%.
I don't think you're in this chat and watching this show if you don't have some sort of belief or don't want some sort of proof.
At least you want to know more.
Yeah. So
look at this comment. Standing Stone 1776 went cross country in 2006. We had an RV and we stayed at Starving Rock State Park. And my wife saw something like this right above our site.
Well, I mean, if you've been to the zoo and been around any of the primate enclosures, you've seen that behavior at some point or another. If you've watched a show on National Geographic or Discovery Channel, you've seen that kind of behavior. I've seen gorillas do it. I've seen chimps do it. I've been at the zoo and seen those howler monkeys do it.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry. It's primate behavior. Ryan said it earlier. 100% that is primate behavior up in that tree. And, okay, even if you're going to say, okay, there were cables there and that's how they did the tree breaks, you still haven't explained how the movement after the breaks and before the breaks, where something is jumping from branch to branch and moving up, down, left, right, and diagonal. How was he doing that?
I agree. Thank you, Judy.
You might can explain one small part of it, but that doesn't work with the rest of the video. I just, this one's just got my stamp of approval as not a hoax, not fake. And I still put this up there with Patterson Gimlin, Sierra Sounds and Freeman.
Yeah, Paul Freeman film. And I just posted a poll in the chat. If you guys would like to see us do more breakdown videos like that, respond to the poll. And I apologize if you're on Facebook. We can't do polls on Facebook. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. The polls are through YouTube. So I don't have a way to do polls on Facebook as well. But if you're on the YouTube channel you're watching, we would appreciate your input because it will help us decide whether or not we're going to do more like this. And I think this was a really good show tonight.
Yeah. We stayed on topic. We had a lot of people in here and being interactive in the chat. And I mean, I enjoy talking about stuff like this. I mean, because here's the thing. We may have had some people had different opinions, but it's fun to talk about stuff like that and say, it's not calling anybody out. If you put, if I say something, everybody in chat has a chance to call me out on it if I'm wrong. Same thing. If you put it in the chat, everybody in the chat and us have a chance to if you don't have your guns loaded and you don't want to have a discussion about it, don't say it or type it. Because I like doing shows like this. Because I think this is how the channel, this is how the community grows and gets better. Having discussions like this, looking at stuff like this and saying, is this really good evidence or is this not good evidence? Is this crap? Is this hoaxed? Or is this real? Because for every one good video like this, there's probably 30 crappy hoax videos that push us further down on the relativity spectrum.
Yeah, especially the ones that they do with AI. Those are kind of obvious. At least right now they are, but AI is getting better every year. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
I don't like using AI programs for art. One, I think it's kind of insulting to the artists. The only thing I use AI images for is the thumbnails for the show. And that's about it. And it's just for a cheap throwaway thumbnail for episodes. I wouldn't use them for book covers or anything like that.
So, hey, 2 hours and 22 minutes, and we've stayed on topic the entire time.
Moly, somebody write this one in the record books. Miss Naomi's watching it frame by frame, and I'm going to go back and watch the entire video again at slow speed, and see if I can find anything else. And I'll be sitting there with a notepad writing down time indexes. So maybe we will revisit this. Maybe we'll do a second part. Because I think going over this again, Miss Naomi, if you want to join us for part 2, you're always invited. We'd love to have you. So if you find anything and you want to get stills of it and want to come on with us, maybe we can do that either Wednesday or next Saturday, one of the two. Because Wednesday night is actual New Year's night. New Year's Eve would be the night everybody would be celebrating. So New Year's night shouldn't be an issue. Miss Naomi says, send me a link. I'll be there. Which is better for you, Miss Naomi, Wednesday or Saturday? And I'll watch the NVTV one as well. Thank you, Neil. Good night, Neil. Joe Parker says the agility in those trees, animal-like 500-pound squirrel. Yeah, it's like a squirrel going from branch to branch. How that level of agility, but that ain't no person doing that.
She don't have a preference, she said.
Well, maybe we'll just do it Wednesday night. We'll do a recap of this. We'll recap and watch part of the video again, and then if we got some stills, we'll show the stills and talk about it even more. But I'm definitely down for doing a part 2 to this. What we are coming up on, the bottom of the hour of hour number 2, heading into hour number 3. Well, we're still over 200 people. Holy moly!
Mm-hmm.
Please hit that like, share, and subscribe. We could sure help us grow in the algorithm. Let people know that you enjoy this kind of content. Share it with folks on your timeline. Help us continue to grow the channel. We would appreciate all of that because every share, every like, and every comment helps us get a farther into that end of the YouTube algorithm. We're getting close to the 10,000 mark. That's a good benchmark for us to hit. But we really want to continue to grow the channel and reach a bigger audience and share this kind of content. So if y'all could, we would sure appreciate you guys like, sharing, subscribing. We didn't do a affiliate tonight.
Yeah, we kind of.
Since you've got some new stuff up there on the wall above you,
Well, that's behind me.
why don't you do a little bit about Lone Wolf?
Talking about our sponsorship tabs that I made. And obviously I can do other things. This is just, I'm going to have these, I'm going to put these up. But I just did, our three main companies, Dark Angel Medical, DAExMachiNation podcast, and Lone Wolf Forge and Customs. But I've been playing back around with my flatbed laser, and these are the panels that I used to cut the blanks out for the knives. So I just got to playing around, and I can put I could probably do portraits and things like that on this. I'm probably gonna play around with that a little bit and see what we can do. So, and obviously the knives are DA has been approving because I've been keeping him in the which matter of fact, you want me to send you a picture of the latest update of the
Send it in Facebook, because then I can show it on screen without having to
in the messenger, Facebook
yeah,
Messenger.
Good God! Speaking of Facebook Messenger, mine's exploded. I probably got 25 messages.
This is where I just sent it to you. This is where the Natchez Trace buoy is as it sits out in the knife shop right now.
Okey-doke. Well, give me just a moment, and I will bring that bad boy up. This is the Natchez Trace.
Yep. It's just a little more intricate, so I'm further along because I've had to work on it. So that's why I sent you a picture of that one.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Brass is a big heat sink because I burnt the ever loving what out of my fingers grinding that brass cross guard.
It's
Brass
looking
gets
good though.
hot. Yeah, I still got some work to do on it, but yeah, it's coming along, I think.
It looks damn good. Doc's gonna love it.
So,
but if you guys like any of that stuff, check out Lone Wolf Customs.
well, Kevin is besides Doc and DA who are getting number 1 and number 2. Kevin Bode has just placed his order for a Natchez Trace.
Nice.
He's getting a little bit different from Doc. He wants a cherry handle, and but so there's going to be some turnaround on it. Obviously, that it takes a. But Tyler and I were talking today. We've both got some ideas on some stuff that we're going to be doing for upgrades. So, and hopefully those things will kind of cut some of the time off some of the steps we've got to do. So,
Tony Vitale was asking about my green screen image behind me. Yeah, my buddy Adam custom made that for me for my green screen here on the show. And if you watch over my shoulder, at some point you'll see somebody that looks a lot like me get out of that tent. Old Bigfoot comes walking by, and shortly after Bigfoot walks away, you'll see me come out of that tent where someone looks a lot like me.
old Declan himself. DA himself.
Yeah, unfortunately, that video is not available publicly. But if you want a copy of it, I could probably make you a copy or email you a copy.
Standing stone, that's walnut, black walnut, or I don't know if it's black walnut, but it's definitely walnut. But I've got right now I've got ash, walnut, cherry, and I've got one mahogany handle because the other mahogany is already. I've got 2 sets of scales, but the other mahogany is already spoken for. I've got no shortage of ash and cherry. I got a pretty good supply of walnut, and I've got a mold. Couldn't think of the word. A mold where I can do epoxy resin handles too. So
Those epoxy resin handles are nice.
mm-hmm.
There's me getting out of the tent.
Yep. So, yeah. If DA put my email up, that's how if you want to order a knife, send me an email. I've got more styles than just that one, obviously, but that's the one that's furthest along from any of them. Let me send you one of yours too, DA, so you can send that. That's one of yours with the handle scale clamped on, so you can kind of see. DA wanted walnut on his too, but you can see the knife and what it looks like with the walnut handle. And this is the Widowmaker.
Okay, let me grab that one real quick. Oops, wrong direction. Let me pull that one up. The Widowmaker. Declan's prized Arkansas toothpick.
Yep.
Look at that. Big old thumbprint right on it.
Hey.
Man, that's a good looking knife.
I can leave the thumbprint on it for you if you want me to.
Well, then I know it's official.
Yeah. That's my signature. And that was before you'd asked me to, but that clip point is sharpened too.
Yeah, that clip point. I like that on there. I like that sharp clip point.
Yeah, because Doc saw it after it was sharp. He's like, I want that done on mine too. And I'm like, because you got to make, I mean, they got to cut, the 2 bevels have to meet up at the point, you know, because you got one bevel coming in this way from the clip point and one coming in from and they got to, because if you get them off, it looks weird. So you got to make sure they come right in at the right. And I've using the living daylights out of my file guide to make sure all the shoulders are lined up. So
Joe Parker says your shop looks like mine, Robbie. I will be the first to say a neat workshop is the sign of a sick mind. Probably a serial killer. You should see my office.
your shop or your office and my shop look a lot alike.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it keeping it clean. I'm just keeping it functional.
You know, it takes 5 minutes to get started to do something because you got to move stuff around just so you can get you a place to work. Or it takes you 10 minutes to move stuff around to do 5 minutes worth of work.
Yeah.
Usually.
Exactly.
Because that's what I've been dreading so long, to drill the holes in y'all's handles and your in the tang of your knife, because I got to go back out to the wood shop and my drill press is pretty much buried I got like another compressor in front of it. I got a welder in front of it. I got a bunch of scrap wood in front of it. I'm like, oh God, I got to move all that stuff so I can get in there and use the drill press. But I got to do that before I heat treat it, because if I wait till after I heat treat it, then I'm going to be drilling into hardened steel, and I don't have any I think is it whatever the bits that are set to cut through hardened steel. I don't have any of those. I just got regular titanium bits. So I got to get out there and drill the holes in the tang and everything before I heat treat them. So hopefully I'm gonna start heat treating tomorrow.
That'll be awesome, man. And you are gonna have leather sheaths for those.
Now, here's the thing with the leather sheaths. Yes, they can come with leather sheaths, but that's gonna jump the price up, because I'm not making the leather sheaths. I'm getting those through Johnny, and he's got a set price that he's gonna charge for those. So if you want a leather sheath, that's gonna jump the price up. Kevin wanted one, so that jumped the price up on his knife. So,
and the sheaths are going to be handmade as well.
Yeah, and the way he told me with the big blades like that, he makes them scout carry unless you specifically say no, I want one that is on my or traditional like like this.
And traditional carry is like this. Scout carry is like this.
Yeah, that's traditional that hangs on your belt loop like that. Scout carry is one that's got he'll make the keepers that wrap around. Which where's it? Oh, it's always already
set up for scout carry.
Yeah, but with the leather, it won't have that clip on it like DA's got. It'll have two leather straps that pin to the back and come around and snap on the front. So you just take them loose and put it up against your back, and you run the keeper around the back and up through your belt loop in between your belt and your back, and then it comes back around and snaps on the front, and it's held on your back like this. So unless you specifically want something different, that's the way he's going to make. Unless you tell me. So if you say, "Hey, I want a sheath," and you don't say, "I want it normal carry,"
it's coming scout carry.
It's coming scout carry. So just so everybody knows that, and that'll be something that.
And Hillary, to answer your comment there, he says in the video that was the second time that had happened to him. So I imagine other people that lived in that apartment complex probably had that happen a few times.
And Edie was talking about the K-bar. Yes, that's an official. You see what it says on the bottom, Eric? Just for you, Uncle Sam's misguided children.
That's the ones. But we are at the bottom of the hour. We're going to go ahead and start winding things up. I just posted a poll about anybody would be people interested in part 2, and it's a unanimous. Everybody says yes. So we're going to plan on doing a second part to this, probably Wednesday night. When we'll have Miss Naoma on with us, and we'll talk about new findings in this. As I'm going to watch the NVTV, and then I'm also going to go back and watch the original video at a quarter speed on a bigger screen, so I can take a really close look at it, and then hopefully we'll have a lot more to discuss about it. So, folks, thank you guys for watching. Well, I always want to mention the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that is 22 too many. Check on your friends and family that have served in uniform, be that as a military or first responder, because the toll it takes on these people is tremendous. So reach out to your folks that the people you care about, family, friends, loved ones. Let them know you care. Let them know you're thinking about them, because you never know when that text, "Hey, how are you doing?" is what keeps them off the edge. And if you were one of those folks, just remember, don't let the hard days win. We all have our dark days. Reach out to somebody. We'd rather hear your story than read your obituary. So reach out. If you don't have anybody else, reach out to one of us. Our emails are pretty easy to get. They're posted all over the show all the time. Mine's in the links on the link at the description of the show at the bottom. DA Roberts at DARoberts.net. Robbie's was posted a couple times during the show. Doc, I'm sure Doc would be happy to as well. But reach out, some because people do care, and we don't want to lose any more of our men and women in uniform. Because 22 a day is preventable. We can get 22 a day down to 0. So please reach out to the folks you care about. And we've been winding up the show with a toast, and we're going to continue that tonight. The toast is from an old Irish drinking song called "The Parting Glass," and it's played at the end, at the close of day in Irish pubs all over the world. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's not just talking about that. It's about raising the glass to those we've lost, those who won't be there to share with us again. And we'll close her out with the toast. But since it fell into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night on Campfire Tales. Slàinte mhath.
Slàinte.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAExMachiNation. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.